Let's talk about fear of the dark. It's one of our most basic fears. It's born out of our oldest brain, where at night, things that woke up and went out hunting in the night might eat us. And therefore we learned to be very wary in the dark because we couldn't see the things that might eat us. And that fear persists. We're still afraid of the dark. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of everything that might harm us in that unknown sphere. Jung referred to the shadow. The shadow was the unknown, unseen part of ourselves, prone to irrationality, prone to transference and projection. Jung was right. He usually was. It was the idea of fearing the unknown parts of ourselves and then creating a vessel for that fear in someone else. And that shadow part of us became something that, or becomes something that we don't understand because we can't see it. And so, in order to try to see it, we project it onto other people, externalizing rather than internalizing. Classic self-defense. How does that work, though, with night and day? Well, fear of the dark is fear of the unknown. The enlightened part of me is the daylight. The shadow part of me is the night. The crux of the argument comes in that realizing we can't have one without the other. We cannot have day without night. There would not be a word for day if there was not night, because we wouldn't need one. There wouldn't be a word for light if there was not the absence of light. We wouldn't need it. And so, no matter how enlightened I become, there is still a part of me that remains unknown. The shadow part. So how do we accept and do the work on the shadow? It's a term that is shadow work, a term that's so common these days. Well, you can't do shadow work because the paradox is, in order to work on the shadow, you'd have to know what it is. And in order to know what it is, it wouldn't be the shadow, because the shadow is the part of you that you don't know, that you don't know. So the truth of the situation is we must learn to look at our projections. We look at our interactions with other people and the things we don't like about other people to tell us what our shadow is. Because whatever we find fault in someone else may be a part of our personality that we don't like in ourselves. Especially if that fault is not necessarily rational, or we have no just cause for feeling that way about someone. Then we can be pretty sure we're projecting. And if we're projecting, there's our shadow. So this is how we know how to bring the shadow into the light. And if we can bring the shadow into the light, it's not the shadow anymore. So there are less places in our souls that are dark. there are less places for the secrets in ourselves to hide. And we become more lightened and enlightened and illuminated as we go into the dark corners and shine the light in there. But remember that that light can't be shone into all the dark corners until we learn humility enough to look at our interactions with other people, measure them, and see where it is we may need work. Other people become the roadmap to our soul. Our interactions with other people become the map to the key and the code to how we develop ourselves, how we look at those bits of ourselves that we don't like, but don't know that we don't like because we don't know what those bits are. This is how we slowly but surely let the shadows fade and melt away as the dawn of our enlightenment opens up more and more every day.